New to the game in college football 26 are coaching settings that allow you to change not only your safety's depth, but also their width and their midpoint of their splits against offensive formations. In today's video, I'm going to go over several benefits of why utilizing these within your defense, whatever that may be, will help you out significantly. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, hit that notification bell, and let's get after it. The first thing that I want to talk about with our safety adjustments is the depth. There are a few different settings that you guys can take with these. We're going to skip over a couple of these, in particular the deep and the prevent. Those are pretty simple. You will use those in situations where you're end of half, end of game, trying to prevent your opponent from getting over the top. We don't really need to spend too much time on those. However, I do want to talk about the tight and the close alignment, because these can be pretty nice as it pertains the ability for us to walk our safeties down for the purpose of defending the pass or getting a little bit more aggressive against the run. So what we're going to do here is we're going to call a heavy run offense, one that would probably ask us to call some sort of cover four where the safeties are involved in the run fit. By having these safeties down closer to the line of scrimmage, you've got a couple of different things that are going to be working to your benefit. First and foremost, you see that the safeties are involved in the run fit, with the safety right here at that 5-yard depth being involved in the B gap or potentially the C gap, depending on the alignment. With this particular look, no matter whether they run the ball left or right, you see that we've got a 9-man run fit. And with the safety being a lot closer to the line of scrimmage, this means he can get down into this run fit a lot faster, filling that gap than if he were back at his standard depth, which would be give or take 11, 12 yards off the ball. So this is going to add a snappier element to your run defense, in that when the ball is snapped, you're going to see that these guys fill their lanes so much faster. The other thing that this will do is this will change the block targeting of the offensive line. If you guys aren't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you guys take a quick second and do so, as I'm dropping little tips and tricks. These nuggets can help be the difference in whether you win or lose games online, because we're going to talk about areas of the game a lot of other content creators and players don't even know about. If you press L2 or left trigger and then you flick the right analog stick to the left, this will show you the block targeting of the offensive line. And you see right here in this zone-based run, because we have walked so many targets down into the box, this has created a lot of double teams that have to basically work to weird spots on the field. So when we run this particular zone stretch to the left, you see that we are having a really, really hard time of combo blocking to a lot of those second level players on the run side, which is going to present a lot of issues. Now, if I set those safeties to the regular depth associated with this defense and I pull up that same targeting, it does change. And you now see that there's less of that combo blocking, which is going to make the assignments a little bit easier for us to potentially bounce this run. And you saw that in that last example, nobody was able to block because we had extra players in the run fit much closer to the line of scrimmage. So again, there's a big difference between this and what we just saw in the last play, namely in that we just don't have the numbers and we're setting a better edge because we walked the safeties down into the run block targeting, and now they don't have an advantage against this nickel front. You notice right here, this is what we would call a 13 personnel, meaning 1 running back, 3 tight ends. If we were to see that the defense was in a nickel defense, you would think that having 3 tight ends against nickel would be a run blocking advantage. And from a personnel standpoint, it might be, but from an alignment standpoint, we just negated that strength of this formation by utilizing the safety depth adjustment. The other thing that the safety depth adjustment can do for you is help in your blitz game. Now, what I want to do here is come out in an empty look here. I just kind of want to show you a simple look out of this 2-4 defense, which brings me to my next point. I just did a vault update on my strategy website, gridirongameplans.gg, in which I talk a lot about this nickel 2-4 based defense. I think that this is one of the more flexible defenses in the game, and I'll teach you guys why in that vault update. Make sure that you guys go check out the website, because I have over 45 tips in the vault. This game just dropped 2 weeks ago, and we have already over 45 tips in the vault, and we have 3 offensive and defensive game plans on the website ready for you to view right now. That's over 100 videos of content, with much more coming over the course of this week. I've got more offensive content planned, whether it be game plan or vault content, and we got some more stuff on the defensive side of the ball. And I know a lot of you guys are struggling on defense, which is why I'm doing this video here today. So make sure you guys go check it out. Link is in the description. Still got pre-sale offers for Madden that you can bundle with college football as well. If you guys are interested, go check it out. So we are in the safety depth of tight. And the cool thing about this is that this is going to allow us the ability to walk our safeties down to this depth and be able to create lots of different targets in the box for the offensive line. Now, if I were to show you guys this targeting, you're going to see right here that because I walked the safety down to that depth of 5 yards, now we have the center looking at him, which means that I have the ability to blitz either of those flame logo players through the left B gap or through the right B gap, because that player that's walked down is creating that attention. Now, if I were to be in a situation where that player was not in the box and was out, maybe at a different depth, not necessarily backed all the way up, but a more logical depth, 12 to 15 yards, and our defense looked regular. When we take a look at our block targeting, you now see that while the left of screen linebacker is still the untargeted defender, you now have a body accountable to the right side linebacker, because the center is now keying in on the defensive tackle that is on the right side. So you create different targets for the offensive lineman, which is going to open up blitzes that otherwise would not work for you in this particular regard. Now, what I'm going to show you guys here is a very simple pressure. And again, if I'm just going to respot the ball here, this is going to be something where you can basically create really, really easy B gap with this player or with this player. So the player we talked about that was basically going to be able to come in was this right of screen linebacker when the safety's down in the box. Well, this is going to allow us now to be able to occupy right here and get the center's attention. And then that player is unaccounted for, and we end up getting pretty easy pressure. Now, of course, we could drop some of those players that were rushing into covers. There's ways to optimize this, and that's where you should go to Gridiron to check this out. But as you might imagine here with this, if I'm on this guy here occupying the center, I have the ability to kind of hang out in the box and be able to make that center stare at me. So again, we do this, you see how that pressure comes in. So now we're able to get pressure left or right with this, simply because that player's in the box and the center has to respect him long enough that it allows those untargeted defenders to come in. So that's just kind of that first step to this, okay? Now that's not all. This actually goes even deeper. So one of the things that we can talk about with this is going to be our width. Now we have our set to tight. We could back them off further to 8 yards. If you feel like people are lobbing the ball down the middle on you, you could back them up 3 more yards. That'll be helpful. But you also have the ability to go with width. In the default alignment, they're going to line up where they would normally line up. But if you guys want them to spread further towards the sidelines, maybe for the purpose of defending horizontal concepts like RPOs, you could do that. If you want them to go even wider than that, you can. So check this out. Let's say for whatever reason, our opponents are throwing a lot of corner routes on us, or they're just really getting into the sideline. One of the calls that you could very easily go with would be a cover 3 cloud with your safety set to wide. So you see here in this example, this is our standard wide alignment for this cover 3 cloud. The width of this safety will allow you to basically defend some of these concepts where people are throwing quick into the holes on the sideline or going out into the flat underneath on screen calls. And again, it just depends on what type of call you're in. If you're in a cover 3 sky, you could come out with, cover 3 sky with a wide alignment, and you're going to see that the safety that is in the flat zone will be a lot wider. And this will help with, just him trying to, play a better flat roll. Okay. Again, there's a lot of things you could do with this. And that brings me to my next point. You guys could, if you wanted to, go with a 2-high shell with this, either a cover 2 or cover 4. And you can set your midpoint. Now, this is really, really cool because we've mostly talked about just width and depth. This is going to allow you to set your safety midpoint. And what this will do is this will change your safeties to align to the left hash no matter what, the right hash no matter what, the strong side of the passing strength, which is the side with more receiving options, the weak side of the passing strength, which is the side with less receiving options, the field, which is the wide side of the field at all times, and the boundary, which is the short side of the field at all times. So in certain cases, you might face someone that comes out in a formation with bunch to the short side of the field, and then they always flip it and they go bunch to the wide side of the field. And you're in this cat and mouse game where you basically have to flip with them every single time, and it's super, super annoying. Well, one thing you could do is you could say, all right, well, I'm done with this. I'm going to align my safeties to the field. Even though my nickel corner is going to be flipped away from the strength, my safeties will be in the correct role. So you call this cover 4 match, and you set your safeties to play to the field. So let's put the ball on a hash to really illustrate this. When we do this, you're going to see that the safeties are going to be exaggerated to the wide side. And that's exactly what you get here. See how both of those safeties are kicked over to that side. So when you play that player that's like, all right, I'm flipping now, you end up with a much better example of being able to play this type of call here. So when you get that flood, now you end up with the ability for all of these guys to go over and play the match rules, and you can't just throw it inside pass lead down the seam to the streak like so many players like to do. And of course, this will help you guys as well when you're playing just basic zone. And for what it's worth, this does apply to basic zone as well, but be careful because you can get into quite a bit of trouble if you end up playing guys to the field and you play a cover 2 and you just have this safety that's got to go all the way across the field, or you play the boundary and you've got them rolled the wrong way and your opponent has their passing strength to the field. So be careful with this. This is something that can, be a little bit of an issue, but you can use all of these little safety adjustments to make your defense uniquely yours. And I think that this is something that a lot of players could benefit from. In particular, the safety depth is a big one. I think that just with this game being so hard to defend quick seams and so many throws in the middle of the field with issues with the user covering and being able to switch stick, having those safeties walk down no matter your defense, it's like having that meta from last year where the safeties always walk down. And I think that this is a big deal because you basically do create the double safety walk down meta out of any defense. And that means better blitzing, and it means better seam coverage. And you're just going to be able to play such better defense from these types of alignments. I would highly suggest you guys start installing this into your offense. Maybe it's just a little bit per game, but eventually you're going to get comfortable and you're going to find something that you immediately go to. You're going to see formations and you're going to think, oh, this is the one I like to go with the midpoint set to the field. Or, oh, this is the one where I like to hit my safety depth at tight. Or, oh, this run, I want to go to close. You guys are going to have something that by the end of the year, you're just going to be a machine setting these up. So start doing these things now. And these are also going to probably be a thing in Madden as well. So start practicing now. You guys will be ready when Madden launches. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Until then, this is Zayn. Get the lab and good luck.